कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव तुझा बिहारी राधा माधव तुझा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव तुझा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राधा जम सुंदर राधा जम सुंदर जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि गो जो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्रीमती श्री भक्त वेदांत संस्कृत की जय देवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्रीमती श्री भक्त सिद्धांत ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव बंधु की जय नमाचार्य हरदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त बंधु की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा मई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Glories to assembly what is Hare Krishna. Glories to assembly what is Hare Krishna. Glories to assembly what is Hare Krishna. Glories, 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 glories. Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Prabhupada की जय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण विष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नाम नमस्ते सारस्वते गौरवाणी प्रचार निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पंचाक्षर स्थान। Thank you very much for joining. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavadanaistiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. Reading from chapter 9, Most Confidential Knowledge, verse number 11 to 19. This is a big section, almost 11 to 25, but it can be divided into two sections. We'll try to cover 11 to 19 today. Avajananti mudha manusim tanumāsritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheswaram. Avajananti mudha manusim tanumāsritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheswaram. Avajananti, deride, me, muda, foolish men, manushim, in a human form, tanum, a body, asritam, assuming, param, transcendental, bhavam, nature, ajananta, not knowing, mama, my, bhuta, of everything that be, maha iswaram, the supreme proprietor. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Let's repeat. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Verse number 12. Mogasa moga karmano moga gnana vicetasaha Rakshasi Masurim Chaiva Prakrutim Mohinim Sritaha Mogasa Moga Karmano Moga Gnana Vicetasa Rakshasi Masurim Chaiva Prakrutim Mohinim Sritaha Mogasa Moga Karmano Moga Gnana Vicetasa Rakshasi Masurim Chaiva Prakrutim Mohinim Sritaha. Toward Mogasa, baffled in their hopes. Moga Karmana, baffled in fruitive activities. Moga Gnana, baffled in knowledge. Vicetasaha, bewildered. Rakshasim, demoniac. Asurim, atheistic. Cha, and Eva, certainly. Prakrutim, nature. Mohinim, bewildering. Srita, taking shelter of. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, Their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Verse number 13. Very important verse. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim asrita bhajanti ananya manaso gnatva bhutadim avyayam. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim asrita bhajanti ananya manaso gnatva bhutadim avyayam. महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ दैवीं प्रकृतिम् आश्रिता भजन्ति अनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिम् अव्ययम्. Mahatmana, the great souls, through what? Mam, unto me, Partha, O son of Pruta, Daivim, divine, Prakritim, nature, Asrita, having taken shelter of, Bhajanti, render service, Ananya Manasa, without deviation of the mind. Gnatva, not knowing, Bhutva, Bhuta of creation, Adim, the origin, Avyayam, inexhaustible. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. O Sanapruta, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotion service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. To repeat. O Sanapruta, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotion service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Verse number 14. This is also very important verse. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dృఢవ్రతా నమస్యంతశ్చ మాం భక్త్యా నిత్యయుక్తా ఉపాసతే. సతతం కీర్తయంతో మాం యతంతశ్చ దృఢవ్రతాః నమస్యంతశ్చ మాం భక్త్యా నిత్యయుక్తా ఉపాసతే. సతతం కీర్తయంతో మాం యతంతశ్చ దృఢవ్రతాః నమస్యంతశ్చ మాం భక్త్యా నిత్యయుక్తా ఉపాసతే. Satatam, always, kirtayanta, chanting, mam, about me, yatanta, fully endeavoring, cha, also, dudavratah, with determination, namasyanta, offering obeisances, cha, and mam, me, bhaktya, in devotion, nitya yukta, perpetually engaged, upasate, worship. Translation by Prabhupada. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Please repeat. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Verse number 15. Gnanayajnena chapi अन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतोमुखम्. ज्ञानयज्ञेन चापि अन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतोमुखम्. ज्ञानयज्ञेन चापि अन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतोमुखम्. Gnana by cultivation of knowledge, cha, also, api, certainly, anye, others, ajanta, sacrificing, mam, me, upasate, worship, ekatvena, in oneness, prataktvena, in duality, bahuda, in diversity, visvata mukam, and in the universal form. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many, and in the universal form. Repeat. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many, and in the universal form. Verse number 16. The 16 to 19 is one set. अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञ स्वादा अहम् औषधम् मन्त्रोऽहम् अहमेवाज्यम् अहम् अग्निरहं हुतम् अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञ स्वदाहम् अहम् औषधम् मन्त्रोऽहम् अहमेवाज्यम् अहम् अग्निरहं हुतम् अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञ स्वदाहम् अहम् औषधम् मन्त्रोऽहम् अहमेवाज्यम् अहम् अग्निरहं हुतम् Aham I, Kratu, Vedic ritual, Aham I, Yajna, Smriti sacrifice, Swada, oblation, Aham I, Aushadam, healing herb, Mantra, transcendental chant, Aham I, Eva, certainly, Ajam, melted butter, Aham I, Agni, fire, Aham I, Hutam, offering. Translation by Prabhupada. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant, I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Repeat. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant, I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Verse number 17. Nice verses 17 and 18. पिताहमस्य जगतो माता दाता पितामह वेद्यं पवित्रम् ओङ्कार ऋक्सामयजुरेव च पिताहमस्य जगतो माता दाता पितामह वेद्यं पवित्रम् ओङ्कार ऋक्सामयजुरेव च पिताहमस्य जगतो माता दाता पितामह वेद्यं पवित्रम् ओङ्कार ऋक्सामयजुरेव च पिता फादर अहम I asya of this Jagata, universe, Mata, mother, Data, supporter, Pitamaha, grandfather, Vedyam, what is to be known, Pavitram, that which purifies, Omkara, the syllable Om, Ruk, the Ruk Veda, Sama, the Samaveda, Eju, the Ejur Veda, Eva, certainly, Cha, and translation by Prabhupada. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. Repeat. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. Verse number 18. This is also nice verse. गतिर्भर्ता प्रभु साक्षी निवास शरणं सुहृत् प्रभव प्रलयस्थानं निदानं बीजमव्ययम् गतिर्भर्ता प्रभु साक्षी निवास शरणं सुहृत् प्रभव प्रलयस्थानं निदानं बीजमव्ययम् गतिर्भक्ता प्रभु साक्षी निवास शरणं सुहृत् प्रभव प्रलयस्थानं निदानं बीजमव्ययम् गतिर्भक्ता प्रभु साक्षी निवास शरणं सुहृत् प्रभव प्रलयस्थानं निदानं बीजमव्ययम् गति गोल भर्ता sustainer प्रभु लॉर्ड साक्षी witness निवास abode शरणं refuge Surut, most intimate friend. Prabhava, creation. Pralaya, dissolution. Sthanam, ground. Nidhanam, resting place. Bijam, seed. Avyayam, imperishable. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Repeat. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Last verse of this section. Tapami aham varsham nigranami utsrijami cha amrutam chaiva mrityuscha sad asat cha aham arjuna. तपामि अहं वर्षं निगृह्णामि उत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सत् असच्च अहम् अर्जुन तपामि अहं वर्षं निगृह्णामि उत्सृजामि च Amrutam chaiva mrityuscha sad asaccha aham arjuna. Tapami, give heat. Aham I, varsham, rain. Nigranami, withhold. Musrijami, send forth. Cha, and Amrutam, immortality. Cha, and Eva, certainly. Mrityu, death. Cha, and Sat, spirit. Asat, matter. Cha, and Aham, I, Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. O Arjuna, I give heat, and I withhold, and send forth the rain. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Repeat. O Arjuna, I give heat, and I withhold, and send forth the rain. I am immortality, and I am also the death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Try to understand these verses. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पुङ्गं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय प्रभुपाद की जय गौर भक्तों की जय थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग सो we are in the next section of the chapter 9 the most confidential knowledge verse number 11 to 19. This section titled Worshippers and Non-Worshippers. In the last section, we have seen that inconceivable powers of the Supreme Lord. How by Lord is explaining that everywhere He has pervaded, the entire universe He has pervaded. मया तदम इदम सर्वम जगत अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मस्तानि भूतानि न चाहम तेषु अवस्थितः. He is pervaded everywhere. And then he further also said, I am there, I am not there at the same time. Everything is resting in me, but at the same time not resting in me. So I am not attached to it. Nachamastani bhutani pasyame yogam aiswaram. Bhuta brahma bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavam. Then he gave the example also of the sky and ether. Yata akasasito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan. Tada sarvani bhutanmastani iti upadaraya. He gave an example. Because people have different ideas. Person holding atlas, so you'll be finished. Too much weight holding. That's how they think. God also they may think. So that's why these examples are given. So everything, all this material universe are coming from Him. Ayatana everywhere is pervaded, but He's not there. Like company CEO example I have given. Same way, sun rays, sun god, sun example has been given. Sun rays is coming to your home. That doesn't mean sun god is personally with you. Company CEO is not with you all the time, but work is going on. Same way, Supreme Lord, by diffusion of his energies, is working. Universes are floating. All these planetary system, everything is working. Sun is rotating, moon is rotating. Sun is giving its light, moon is giving its shade and taste to the flowers and fruits and vegetables. So everybody is doing, Yamaraj is doing his job. So all different demigod, different departments, all the various energies, everybody is doing their job under the divine supervision. So, but Lord is aloof from all of them. So it is like the sky and ether, both are two different things. Air is not, even though air is situated. So I am the source of the creation, but at the same time I am aloof. Machamam karman nibadnanti dhananjaya. So I am neutral. Udasina vadasina. So I am like a neutral. I am not attached to it at all. So, but I am the source. From me, this material universe is coming. This was inconceivable. That's why it's confident. Not everybody can understand how this is so. So that's why these examples are given. That sky and ether. Ether is different from sky, but the ether, the air Air is always situated within the ether only. It cannot go beyond. Same way this material universe is, even though it is completely aloof, material universe and the Supreme Lord is not attached to the material universe, is not directly dealing with it. But same time he is the source, same time he is not attached. It is, but still material universe has to be within its purview. It cannot go against, it cannot go on its own. So that's why the example is given like that. Nice example of ether slash sky and air. The air is situated within the ether always. So that's how. So that's why he is not affected. Simultaneously conceivable, inconceivable. Now the question may arise. So that's why Lord Himself is answering this question. In the 11th verse, we see that Avajananti Mamuda Manusim Tanmasritam Prambhavam Ajananto Mama Bhuta Maheswaram. So where people may ask question, Arjuna is asking question rather. Arjuna is asking if you are pervaded everywhere, if everything is happening because of you, then why people are not worshipping you? So then that's why here Krishna is speaking this verse. Avajananti mam mudha. The fools deride me that I appear in this human form. I am because I am acting also as a human being, like I am a friend of Arjuna, and I am also like a politician and dealing with the this warfare. And as a prince. So in this way, they think that I am also one of them. I am also one of them as one of the human being. So fools deride me in this way. So that's why here this. Hold on, hold on. Okay. So yeah, we are discussing the ninth chapter, third section, 11th to 19th. Worshippers and non-worshippers. That is the title of this section. Krishna is explaining who worships, because question may arise from inconceivable powers of Supreme Lord from last section, that Lord is pervaded everywhere. But then why people are not understanding him? Why people cannot know that who is God, who is Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu? Why they have doubts? Why they don't worship? Then this is mentioned with this verse, 11th verse, answer Krishna himself is answering Arjuna's dilemma he may have in the heart, that they are fools, those who deride. They think that I am also appear as human form. The example is there. That's why Mr. Prabhupada has given clear instructions. Everyone should read Srimad Bhagavatam in the morning, in the evening Bhagavad Gita, in the night Krishna book, or in the afternoon. Prabhupada himself used to read these books. His grace, that great Pandit, Prabhupada used to call him Pandit, forget his name. So he himself is sharing his experience. Whenever he's in the flight, he's always reading his own books. Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, or Krishna. Then anybody reads their own books? Prabhupada used to ask further. No one reads their own books. But because I didn't write these books, this is by Krishna's revelations. I have just used my hands to pen it down. So by previous acharyas, mercy and Krishna is giving that intelligence to write. So every time I read, I get new and new understanding, more and more bliss. So Mr. Prabhupada himself is sharing. And there is example in Krishna book, 77th chapter, why fools deride me. The great warrior, Salva, also thinking that Krishna is also ordinary. And Krishna also acted in that way. That's why in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning itself, Canto 1, chapter 1, verse number 20, or chapter 2, verse number 20. I think chapter 1 only. Yeah, chapter 1, 120, Srimad Bhagavatam. Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena kesava atimatyani bhagavan guda kapta manusha. It is just like Rama and Krishna and Balaram are acting like atimatyani bhagavan guda kapta manusha. It is like in a drama, acting as a player. So is not able to understand who's playing the role, who is the real person behind. They think is ordinary, just like human being, because he is also appearing as in the human form. He has also eyes and legs and hands, and so then they are also thinking he's just ordinary boy, so as a cowherd boy or a prince. That's what they are thinking. or unless one knows, just like sometimes we may see company CEO or the senior vice president, executive vice president, or sometimes president or chief minister, prime minister. If we don't know who he is, how he looks, then he may pass by, but you can't recognize him. So that's why even though God may appear before us, we don't know about him, who he is and how he appears, how he looks, what is his characteristics, his form, his pastimes, his name, his qualities, then we can't recognize him. When we have the impurities, like Lord is called as fire, Brahman, Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. That means one who understands Brahman, one who is situated in the Brahman position, then only he can understand Parabrahman. So Brahman means one who has realized himself as spirit soul acting on the platform, not theoretically. Theoretically, we know we are not this body, we are spirit soul, but practically speaking, day in, day out, we are acting as a spirit soul, not as a body. Then he is situated in the Brahman state, then he can understand, he can communicate with the Supreme Lord. That's when we enter into that stage of highest stage, of purified stage. So that's why we have to be as good as fire. That means no impurity should exist. That is what the so that's the iron when it is touched with fire. It is almost when it is completely removed impurities. It is as good as fire. It's no more iron at all. So that's the explanation. Prabhupada use example. So that is the state when we can see. Right now, our eyes, our senses are blunt. We can't see. With our blunt senses, we can't understand. We can't see the Lord, even though He may appear. That's why He is appearing as Archa Vigraha. Here, that's why Krishna is speaking this verse. Avajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanumasri Parambhavam Ajananto. They can't understand my supreme nature. Parambhavam Ajananto. Mama Bhuta Maheswaram. I am the supreme control. Everyone in this world, they see the controllers, different controllers. Could be chief minister, prime minister, president, or CEO, whatever, directors, whatever they may call in different countries. But there is a one controller, or there is another controller on top of them, or a group controlling people, controlling them. So, but Supreme Lord is the supreme control. No one is beyond him. No one, no one can control him. Only his pure devotee, Yasodamai, can control him. That is another reason why people think, because Lord Krishna performs his activities in such a way that Yasodama is running with a stick behind Krishna. He's acting just like ordinary boy. Many of us, also our parents might have taken a stick, and our teacher might have taken a stick, and we are running, so that we don't get the beatings. Same way, Krishna is also acting in that same way. So because to attract this Leela, wonderful Leela, so the Yasodama is binding Krishna. So or stealing. So he's stealing the butter. So all these so much mysterious activities. So that's why again and again these verses, related verses, we see that this Sukadeva Goswami is speaking how this Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram are acting in this way, hiding unless unless he is operating on the devotional platform, he cannot understand his actual activities, actual birth, pastimes or qualities of the Lord. It seems to be material. It seems to be like an ordinary human being. Same thing. Kunti Maharani is also speaking the same 1844 or 35, some verse in the 8th chapter of first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Maya Javanika Channam Ajnanajam Adoksham Buddha Kapta Manushar Nato Natya Daroyata. Just like a dancer in a play. So in a stage, he can't see. If he is wearing a mask, he's playing, then he can't see him. He can't understand who is the actual real person. Sometimes you may recognize, but most of the time you can't recognize. He is fully, perfectly done. He can't recognize who the person is acting that role. Is covered by the deluding external energy, Maya Jamanikachannam. Ajna Adokshayam, because of the blunt senses, he can't understand, is beyond these material senses. So that's why we have to chant the holy name of the Lord. Then only we can purify ourselves. Nama Sankirtanam is the Sarvapava Pranasanam. Sarvapava Pranasanam. Pranamo. Pranamo. Dukkha. I forget the last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, last verse. Yeah. Nama Sankirtanamasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranamo Dukkha Tannamami Harim Param. The topmost, by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Anyway, that is the Yoga Dharma of this age. Any other things we may do, it is not going to much result, much transformation, much change in our heart, unless we chant the holy name of the Lord, whether we like it or not like it. Because that is the Yoga Dharma. That you have to drive on the left side in US. That means you have to drive, and that is the law here. You can't. No, I don't like it. I want to drive in opposite way. Then you will not. You can't drive here. You can go to your own home, in your own country, and drive there. So same way also, this is the rules. That is the chanting Yuga Dharma for this Kali Yuga is Kalavata Dhari Kirtanas. So that's why in this verse, 14th verse, we see in this section how one can understand. So Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, what is the quality of Mahatma? 14th verse and 15th verse is speaking. Always 24 by 7 they are chanting. But we have been asked only 2 hours 16 rounds, starting from one round, gradually come to 16 rounds. That itself is a great difficulty because we are not used to it. So that's why 99% of the population are not acting on this platform. So that's why there are various types of people, different categories of people. Some are on the fruitive platform, Karma Yoga platform, some are on the Jnana platform, some are on the Yoga platform, some are on the Bhakti platform. In that also Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, and Suddha Bhakta. And so that's why gradually you see this 9th chapter is most confidential knowledge, because here Krishna is clearly distinguishing and is giving the glories of the Supreme Lord. So that's why in the first verse, clearly Lord Krishna is answering this question of why everybody is not worshipping. If Krishna is supreme, he is pervaded everywhere, everything is happening because of his energies, then why everybody is not worshipping him? Why everybody is not chanting the holy name of the Lord? The answer is right here. That they think Krishna is an ordinary human being, or at the most they think that powerful man, powerful prince, powerful person. That's the greatest offense, because they don't know. That means completely in ignorance. What will be the result of that? Then the next verse. What will be the destination of those who are thinking like this? Then Krishna immediately speaks, because understanding Arjuna's dilemma, what will be the result? Mogasa moga karmano moga gnana viccheta rakshasim asurim cheva mohinim sritaha. So who has taken shelter of this? Shelter of this atheistic view. They are baffled in everything. If somebody who has this atheistic view thinking that God is a human being like me, then immediately whether he could be a fruitive worker, or whether he could be on the Gnana platform, or he could be a devotee. If he is practicing as a devotee, but if he doesn't think that Krishna is supreme person, is God, is not a human being, then he is not going to get the result. That's the reason Mogasa. Asa means desire. Moga means you can't get that result. Whatever is desiring, if fruitive activity worker wants to desire going to heavenly planet, or desiring something material benefit in this life, next life, higher and higher benefits, enjoyment, he can't get it. Mogasa moga karmano. All the activity, whatever desirable activities, he can't get it. Baffled. Moga karma, moga gnana, karma, gnana. Those who are operating on the karma platform, those who are operating on the gnana platform, moga gnana vichetasa. Vichetasa means is being baffled, is being checked. Vichetasa. Mohinim Srita, because he has taken shelter of the illusory, taking shelter of the atheistic views. So that will be the destination of those. And where they will go? Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva Mohinim Srita. Because they have taken shelter of the atheistic views, then they will be taking the demoniac species of life. Like this morning, Bhagavatam class, we were discussing Yakshas and Rakshasas. So that is the living species they will become in the next life. What can be done? Because that's what actions you perform, then reactions. Because the question may be whether even if it is atheist, also, then who's giving the speaking power? If somebody is paralyzed, then if God can take away our power in a minute, fraction of seconds, No one can, has doctors or no one can stop it. No one can actually revert back. So, because we don't understand, we take it for granted. Everything is happening. Nothing is happening by chance. Clearly, Vedic scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is clearly given. Karanam gunasangasya sad asad janmayonishu. Prakriti purushasto hi punkte jair gunan karanam gunasangasya sad asad janmayonishu. Only reason is by the in the modes which you are acting, you are getting the reaction. Whether you like it or not like it, you will get it. Reactions. No, I have done in ignorance. I don't know. Yeah, there could be a level of reaction, could be different, but definitely for sure we will be getting reactions. So that's why we can't say that I don't want to get reactions. Such a great sage as Mandukya Muni himself has done at childhood. He poked some needle into some ant or something. He killed, giving a pain. Then he had to suffer the consequences much very late. He was a great sage performing great austerity and penances. Then the robbers went into his house, and then police came and caught him, even though he doesn't have any fault. And then he got the punishment. Then he asked, "What kind of Yamaraj are you? You don't know whom to punish, whom not to punish. Then you become a Sudra." And that's why Yamaraj became Vidura because of this sage's curse. But he has to get the reactions. There is nothing wrong on Yamaraj. Why? If I did so long ago, then why are you giving me this punishment now? Why so after all? Yes, because you have to be at a certain level. Like Dhritarashtra had to wait those so many lifetimes. Like that, karma cannot. You can't say that give me now. React. No, there is certain time. You need to have certain credits. So many things. Karma is very intricate to understand. So that's why we have to be very careful. It is not a question of ignorance is bliss and I will do whatever I like. No, it's not going to work the way we think. So that's why here Krishna is clearly mentioning in this verse, 12th verse, the result of those who are thinking Krishna is ordinary human being or a great powerful person, but not as a god, then whatever he may try to do, there in this verse has been clearly mentioned. Mogasa moga karmano, moga gnana vicheta, rakshasim asurim chaiva mohinim kritaha. So that's why we have to be clearly understand that there is a supreme controller. How can anything go? If bus, a car, or a flight, or company, everything is running. Our home itself, in 1 month you don't pay the bill, somebody has to pay the bill. Anything happening automatically without doing anything? No, everybody has to do some work. Then only things are happening. Then what makes us think that there is no God and the whole universe is running by its own without having anybody? So, this is a foolish conception. That's why it is called fool. This is a foolish idea. This has to be given up. Sometimes we see that scholars also, the great commentators of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, they try to comment, they try to translate. That say you can't pick up any book, even though it may be Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or any Upanishads. So many people wrote, scholars, scientists, philosophers, but you can't get real understanding, real transformation in the heart because they themselves are not operating on the platform. So they are actually having a poor fund of knowledge. They do not know the confidential activities of the Lord and his energies, how his energies are working. So that's why Krishna is clearly indicating through various examples. Kunti Maharani is indicating. So all these examples are given. Na lakshya se moda drusha nato natya daroyata. And that's why we must understand this principle. Param bhavam ajananto. They don't understand Vishnu Tattva, or Jiva Tattva, or Shakti Tattva. Vishnu Tattva means we have to understand how Lord Krishna's expansion, so many 6 types of avatars are there. And then, so there are Vishnu Tattvas. Only Vishnu Tattva can be offered a tulsi leaf. No one else can be offered. Only Lord Vishnu can give liberation. That's why he is called Mukunda, one who gives liberation. No one else can give liberation. No other God can give other than Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So that is also Krishna is speaking later on. You'll see. So because those who are worshipping others, there are different categories of people who worshipping. That's why this is the most confidential knowledge, so that we can understand what is highest what is other levels, and who by worshipping with what consciousness, what you will get. All these things are mentioned here so that we understand the actual real essence of pure devotion service, how important it is to understand the position of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and developing our loving service. That's what it's coming to. And then the 12th verse we understood. Mogas Moga Karmano, Moga Gnana, which is Rakshasi Masurincha. So Vishnu Tattva, we must understand. Shakti Tattva, we have to understand. So that's why when we offer obeisance, how do, as you go into temple, especially in ISKCON Brahma Mahatma Gaudiya Sampradaya, as soon as you go into temple, you will see Sri Prabhupada, founder Acharya, spiritual master. God cannot reveal himself. God will not reveal himself unless you submit to his representative, his authority. That is that clearly Lord is indicating that. So through various examples, he is telling directly Uddhava also. What is it? Mam vijaniyam na avamanyeta karichit. Na buddhya na asuye sarvadeva mayo gruhu. Spiritual master is my representative. Is I am a spiritual master is as good as myself. Krishna directly speaking to the most confidential devotee, Uddhava. He is representative of all demigods. Guru is not ordinary, pure devotee of the Lord, as well as the great acharyas like Sri Prabhupada, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbaka Swami, Vishnu Swami, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad. They're all not ordinary personalities. These Shaktavis are empowered by the Supreme Lord. That's why they could transform the whole world. So otherwise it is not possible. Krishna Shakti Nahi Vina Tare Pravartam. Without Krishna's empowerment, no one can transform living entities. No one can transform. So that's why they are carrying the power of Krishna with them. So that's why that's why they are Shakti. So as you enter into temple, you offer. Always we should be left side. The deities are there. We should be our left side should be towards the deities when you offer obeisances. A right side should be the towards the spiritual master. So that's how we should offer, not straight, not straight, left side. Because all the energies, Shakti Tattva means energies. It could be internal energy, like Srimati Radharani, Lakshmi Devi's, or yeah, Durga Devi. All the energy is coming originally from Radharani. All the energies are Shakti, Shakti Tattva. So that's why Radharani is where? Left side of Sri Shyam Sundar. You'll see. Same thing, Sita Ram Lakshman. Sita Devi where? Left side of Lord Ramchandra. When wife and husband are in the Yajna sacrifice, where is wife? Next to the left side of the husband. This is what this energy of the, that's how it's clear distinction is being given. So that's why when you go into the temple offering obeisances, the left side should be towards the deities, right side should be to the spiritual master. So that's why Shakti Tattva. We have to understand how these energies are working. Energetic and energy. Energetic, who is the source of all energies is Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Vishnu. He is called energetic, source of all energy. And energy. In one sense, it's same. Means quality is same. Energy, devotee, and the spiritual master and supreme lord. In one sense, quality. Everybody is having loving relationship. Why Krishna has expanded to so many is to develop loving relationship. Expand this rasa. Anandam Vardhan. That is only. There is in spiritual world so much variegatedness and so much love, so much rasa. As Sandharananda we say, the ecstatic concentrated bliss. We can't even imagine what kind of happiness is there in the spiritual world. We are thinking what we are getting in this material world is it's all in all. No, what we have seen itself is not much. Spiritual world has so much varied. Within higher planet itself, there is so much we are not even seeing in earthly planet. Imagine what is there in the spiritual world. All these descriptions are there in Brahma Samhita and Gopal Champu and so many other books. Srimad Bhagavatam itself gives so many details. So that's why we have to understand this Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, and then Jiva Tattva. So what is the position of living entity? So there is human being, 400,000 types of human beings are there. The demigods, Vidyadharas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, Apsaras. So all these various types of human beings, upper and then lower, all this we have to understand gradually. One day you don't need to understand, but it's a gradual progress. Questions will be answered if you read regularly, if you listen regularly. Every question will be answered. It's a matter of paying attention to the details attentively. We have to hear, especially for the most confidential knowledge. We have to attentively hear. Otherwise, it's difficult to understand. So that's what the first verse of 11 and 12th verse is. That is a great offense to consider Lord Krishna as an ordinary person. So that is the destination. They will go to this Yakshas and Rakshasas because they are thinking just Krishna is ordinary human body, or it is just by great punya he has received this great opulent king or prince body. That's what they are thinking. So that's why their sacrifices will be without result. Their study of Vedanta no result. So they will be perplexed. So they can't discriminate. So what is dharma, what is adharma? So that's why Krishna is speaking this verse. We'll have to read Salva. The question of the conversation, the pastime of Lord Krishna killing Salva. Salva is a great fighter. He has attained great magical powers. There is a Maya demon. There are two different Mayas. But I don't know exactly what is the differentiation, but there is one Maya we see in the Arjuna fighting with Maya Danava, who built a great, wonderful assembly for the Pandavas. But there is also another Maya who is down all the way below. I think Patala, Rasatal, one of the lower planetary system. There also there is another Maya who has enormous magical feats, who can create so much illusions. So Salva also has learned this from one of the Maya, out of those two, one of them. I don't know which one, but we can see. Let me cover two more verses, then we'll read that so that we understand why some people think that if when Krishna himself is fighting, so many people, majority of the people didn't realize that Krishna is God. Then imagine what is the position today in Kali Yuga. This is in Dwapara Yuga itself, when Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, half of them didn't understand Krishna's position, think about others. So that's why we don't need to be surprised or astonished if they can't recognize. If you are trying to give prasadam, people don't take it, or if they're trying to give a book, they can't take it, they can't understand it. So sometimes we meet people. Sometimes they are capitalists. Yes. As soon as you say God, they will be furious. They don't want. They reject everything. So no, I don't want it because they are completely against God. Because capitalism means they are completely against God. But they know that there somebody or the other is controlled. You can't have a classless society. They are being guided. They also have some system, some structure. So even though they call capitalism, but so they can't understand that somebody is governing the whole thing. They can't realize it, but they will have to see the get the consequences in the next life as they continue the evolution of their life. Anyway, so let's continue further. Then we'll come to that reading of Salva and Krishna's fighting. What conversation went on. So 13th verse, Krishna is describing now. Then who will worship? Who is that person who worships? That question may arise. So that's why Krishna is now speaking about the great devotee of the Lord, the pure devotee of the Lord, the qualities. What does he do? What are his characteristics? The 13th and 14th. So he's mentioning Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mastrita Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Gnatva Bhutadim Avir. Mahatmanastu Mam Partha. So where Mahatma means Mahatma and Duratma. Mahatma is been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada also gives. So he's always taking shelter of directly in this verse. Daivim Prakriti Mastrita. He's taking shelter of Daivi Prakriti. There is a Maya Prakriti or Daivi Prakriti, internal energy of the Lord, is taking directly shelter of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee and his representative. So that is always he is always engaged in the devotion service. That is the quality. The first sign is he is situated in divine nature. That is why Daivi Prakriti is mentioned. He is not under the control of material nature. Like we are under the control of material nature. That's why we are being day after day, we are being controlled by the three modes. Sometimes we are in mode of goodness, we are happy, we are blissful, we are having nice time. Sometimes we are morose, sometimes we're lamenting, sometimes we are completely distressed and we don't know what to do. So, or we'll be sleepy, lazy. So, depending on the time of the day, depending on what's going on in our life, different modes are operating. But Mahatma is, whatever situation externally may be, is not operating any of these modes. Is not operating on that Maya, and this external energy is operating on internal energy. So Daivi Prakriti. That's the difference. Not under the control of material nature. And does not at any time, it does not divert any of his attention other than the Supreme Lord. Anything outside of Krishna, he doesn't deviate, doesn't divert at all. So Prabhupada is another example of the great acharyas. So they're always attracted by only, they are not even attracted by even 400 form. You see that when gopis of Vrindavan, when they saw Lord Narayan, then immediately they are asking, did you see Shyam Sundar Krishna or Krishna? Lord Krishna, they are saying. They are offering obeisances, they are asking. They are not interested in 400 form of Lord Narayan, even though he is the Lord, but no, they are not interested. So pure devotees, they are attracted by Shyam Sundar Krishna, two-handed palm. They are not even one-pointed focus, one focus. So this is what Mahatmas completely focus. Know perfectly well that Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, because you have so many gods, but who is the head of all the gods? That is Krishna. So this is corroborated by all the acharyas, Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, Rigveda, everywhere. It is clearly defined, clearly mentioned. And they meditate only on Krishna, always engaged in unswerving service of the Supreme Lord, and is always conversing and associating with others. So this is the quality of Mahatma. In Srimad Bhagavatam also that is given that what is it? Mahat Sevan Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangam. Mahat Sevan Dwaram Ahur Mukte Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. विमन्ययो ये साधवो ये सुहृद साधवो ये महांतस्ते समचित्त प्रशांत विमन्ययो ये साधव सुहृद साधवो ये. The qualities of Mahatma has been mentioned that samachitta prasanta. Samachitta means equipoised. He is not is equipoised. Happiness, distress, difficulty, whatever is going on in his life, like Prabhupada had to go through 3 heart attacks. Prabhupada books were stolen. Prabhupada was almost like beaten. So many things he had to go through. Not even young age, old age. He doesn't have anybody, no money. So Prabhupada had to go through that. Not only Prabhupada, some of his disciples also had to go through that single-handedly. They went and opened. They are not even Indians. They are not even coming from Vedic background. How could they open? So because by strength, empowerment of the pure devotee, that's what pure devotee is always praying. When Prahlad Maharaj was, he's praying for the demoniac schoolmates. Haridas Thakur, those who are beating him left and right in 21 marketplaces because he's a Muslim, he's chanting the holy name of the Lord, and then they are beating him because Nawab didn't like it and they're beating him. But what he rather, Haridas Thakur was praying for them. Lord, they are in ignorance. Don't punish them. Because it's a great offense to beat a pure devotee of the Lord. But Haridas Thakur rather pleading to the Lord, don't punish them. Please forgive them. They are in ignorance. This is the quality of a pure devotee. There is no, you can't imitate that position. That is the position of a Mahatma. Samachitta Prasanta is equipoised. So and he is patient, is tolerating. So he is very peaceful. So he is not agitated. Sometimes they may be angry for to correct someone. To correct someone, they may be angry. So Prabhupada, Narada Muni, we see the examples. But to correct them, to bring them, to reform them, they become. But immediately they are peaceful. Immediately they change. Like Hanuman, burned the Lanka. So Prashanta and Vimannayo Suhrudo is Sadhava Sadhubhushan. Sadhava is very tolerant, is very merciful, very compassionate. Suhruda is equal to all. He doesn't see any difference between living entities. So he's seeing Paramatma in each and every living entity. Because every living entity, whether human being or ant or animal, every living species has Paramatma, super soul is there. So he's seeing that everywhere. So that is the pure devotee. That is what Mahatma. This is the quality of Mahatma. So nowadays the people have been titled Mahatma, or this person or that XYZ. People may have the name Mahatma by legal name itself. So or they may use the title as Mahatma, or some people may give like a doctorate. They may give the title as Mahatma, but that's not real Mahatma. Mahatma, the title is not based on scholarship or some community or some nation giving the titles. It is based on actually how much is actually attached to the Supreme Lord and is actually compassionate and merciful and tolerant and peaceful, is not operating on this material platform at all. Is completely 100% fully on spiritual platform. So Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad, all these examples of acharas, so much tolerance. They are praying. So that's why by the prayers of pure devotee, so that's why when Prabhupada used to walk and while morning walk also he was telling them Hare Krishna. Even if the person responds or not respond, when a pure devotee is conversing, then they is getting benefit. Is getting benefit. One who is listening is getting benefit. So that's why we have to chant loudly because others, other animals, other living entities, deers or whoever is there, even those who may not know who is this person wearing tilak and going for morning walk, uh, but they will get the benefit by looking at the devotee, by hearing the transcendental sound. They are all getting benefit. They don't know what they are getting, but they get benefit. This is Agnata Sukruti. So it's very important. Mahatmas are always praying. So by Srila Prabhupada's prayers, so many became wonderful devotees, even though they don't have quality. So that actual piety, actual credits given by Srila Prabhupada. So that Agnata Sukruti is given by Mahatma. So that is the difference between Mahatma and who is not Mahatma. And what is the quality? And Lord Krishna himself is giving that quality immediately. He is always chanting the holy name. He is always absorbed. Satatam kirtayam toma. Yatam tascha drudavrata. He is very fixed up. He is not one day, it's today, it is too cold. Let me put blanket and sleep. No, that is not the Mahatma. Yes, initially we may be in that, but that is not the Mahatma. Mahatma means is always, is not agitated. Like Lord Shiva is not agitated. Even in Daksha Yajna, he didn't utter a single word, he just walked out. Because he knows what's going on. He's completely absorbed in Lord Sankarshan, Lord Balram, Lord Ramachandra's names. So he didn't want to get disturbed. He just walked out. His disciples and opposite Daksha's associate, they were cursing, counter cursing that was going on. But Lord Shiva just walked out. So that is the position of the pure devotee of the Lord. Because they know they are completely absorbed in the Supreme Lord only. So they're always Satatam Kirtayantoma. Yatantas Dodavrata. They are very fixed up. Nothing can agitate them. Nothing can deviate them from nothing can take them away from Krishna consciousness. So that is the position of Mahatma. So that's why Krishna is giving that example that at least here anybody asking why do you chant, where Krishna is saying chant the holy name. Here you can see the example directly. That's why it's the most confidential knowledge. Because not everybody is going to chant. So 9.15 verse Satatam Kirtayam Tomam Yatantascha Drudavrata. That's why Krishna is speaking this. So that's what in this 14th verse Krishna is speaking of Satatam Kirtayam Tomam Yatantascha Drudavrata Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya. Is always offering obeisances. Always offering. So that's why as soon as we walk into temple, we must offer obeisances. Yes, initially we may not feel like because we haven't done in the past, but we should offer obeisances because it is a good, great benefit. If somebody is trying to give something, always, this is what Vedic culture teaches. Anytime you receive a book or something, we should immediately, then and there, we should give at least $1, something. Because that is the Vedic culture. Because otherwise, you are Yeah, actually, you are not really getting benefits. That's why whenever you perform any yajna, any sacrifice, kirtan must be performed, prasadam must be distributed, and there should be a remuneration to be given to the priest. Sometimes we become stingy. We don't want to give anything at all. We'll spend $100 for us for everything, but when it comes to the giving it to pujari, we when we want to give it to the Lord, we become oh, no, I have to save. I have to save. Save for what? At the time of leaving the body, are we going to take dollar? No, we can't take anything. Then what are we going to save for? Dollar we are giving. Anything we are giving to Krishna, we are going to get 100 times more than what we. That credit will always be there in this life or next life. It can not go waste at all. Especially in Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu's worship. In demigod, there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee. So it is temporary result. But here, anything we do in relation with Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, permanent result. So everybody will get the benefit. So that's why it is important that we should always give something. Nothing should be taken for free. Even though in temple you get free, but we should always give something. So whether it's arati, whatever, we bring something, fruit or flower, it is for our benefit. Don't think that somebody is expecting. Yes, somebody may be asking, but don't think of them. You think of it is your relation with the Supreme Lord. It is your relation, loving relationship with the Supreme Lord and His devotees. When you are getting a first job, you may buy things for your father or grandfather. This is for out of your loving reciprocation. Grandfather is not going to ask, give me, buy me this, buy me that. Supreme Lord doesn't need anything. He is giving everything. It is out of our loving affection. That's how our loving relation will start. If we always be stingy and miserly, then how will it change? That is the consciousness we are in. That's why we are stuck in this material world. We can't get out because of this stinginess. So that we have to give up. The tendencies always will be there. So that these tendencies has to be given up. For Lord service, yes, you may not need to give hundreds of dollars, but okay, give something, whatever you can. Anybody can give a flower or a fruit. It's not. It doesn't cost much. So give something. So that's what is the important aspect. So that then slowly, gradually, you are developing that relationship. So our connection will start developing. If you don't do that, then so where is the question of loving reciprocation? There is no question of love. We can't do by force. It is out of your free choice, free will. You should give. That's why we don't ask. We don't force anybody. When you give book, some people doesn't give anything. All right, but it is for their. We tell them it is for your benefit. They don't want to give. That's fine. Sometimes they think that because there are so many cheating people who cheat, they take money for themselves. So, but then that's why they get also doubts when they see the genuine people. Also, they get doubt whether this person is taking money for temple or this person is taking for himself. That doubt also will be there in Kali Yuga because that's how the 90% of the people are in this category of taking money, putting in their pocket. It's not going for deity service. So it is difficult in that way also. But anyway, at least if they can't give it to the person, come to temple and give, no problem. But at least it should go. So that's what here. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drodhavrata namasantascha mam bhakta nitya yukta upasate. Nitya yukta means 24 by 7. Is always worshipping the Lord. Either he's chanting or hearing or smaranam. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu, Achanam, Mandaram, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmaniveda. Out of these 9 kinds of devotional practice, 9 angas, but the chanting and hearing is the topmost anga. Bhagavat Vidhi, it is called. No rules and regulations. To such an extent, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur has also said that you can take chanting bag and bead also in the bathroom. Because it is a question of being attached to the holy name of the Lord, not give up the holy name to that extent. Yes, not in the beginning stage, you don't take to the bathroom. We are not at that stage. But when we are at that stage, especially when we are traveling, what we will do? Because you don't want to leave the bag. When you don't have anybody to catch your bag, then you can't leave. Rather, you take it in. What can be done? Those times it's all right. But in general, we don't take into the bathroom. But you can chant. With the tongue, you can chant. There is no problem in chanting with the tongue, even in the bathroom. Lord Hanuman has done it. So there was a conversation. I don't remember, but some other time we'll share that. So that is what here Mahatma means. Mind, body, speech, everything is in the service of the. He observes, there Acharya is quoting here, Satatam Kirtantama, he observes the rules and regulations, the fasting days like Ekadasi. January 2nd is the most important Ekadasi. Whether you like it or not like it, please try to follow. At least something you do. January 2nd is the most important Ekadasi, Vaikunta Ekadasi, also called Putrada Ekadasi. Very, very important Ekadasi. Out of year, in India especially, most of the people follow this Ekadasi. At least half day fasting they will do. They will visit most of the temples, at least few temples, and they will not eat anything at least half day. Many people do it because that's how it's powerful. Where Vaikuntha Dwar can be opened by simply just this day, somebody is concentrating and giving their time for the service of the Lord and chanting the holy name of the Lord, they can go back to, when they leave their body, they can go back to Vaikuntha. That's how powerful this Ekadasi is. Vaikuntha Ekadasi. That's why it's called also Vaikuntha Ekadasi, January 2nd, Monday. So try to follow as much as possible. You can eat 3, 4 times, no problem. Don't eat grain. That is the main principle. But increase your chanting or hearing or taking darshan of the Lord, offering a fruit or flower. And that is the main thing. Yes, if you don't want to take anything without water, that's great if you can do. But it's not a mandatory that you do nijjal. You can do whatever, different levels are there. With fruits you can do, with nuts you can do, or you can eat 1 time, or you can eat 3 times, no problem. But as long as we increase our chanting and we don't eat grains, so that is the main principle on Ekadasi days and Janmashtami days, Ramnavami. So all these appearance days. So Mahatmas always, the devotees always follow this Drudha Vrata. It doesn't slip. It doesn't slip a single day, any of these days. It doesn't miss. That is the quality of devotion. So that's why this verse, 15th verse, this 14th verse and 15th verse, Krishna is speaking. This is the quality of a pure devotee, Mahatma's quality. Now the next verse. Oh, what about those who are on the other platform? What about them? That's why Arjuna may ask that question. That's why Krishna is speaking that verse 14 and 15. 14th is talking about pure devotee. In the 7th and 8th chapter, Krishna talked about karma Mr. Bhakti, where four kinds of people, somebody who's in distress like Gajendra, somebody who's in looking for wealth like Dhruva Maharaj, somebody is looking for inquisitiveness out of Saunakand, other rishis assembled in Naimishan asking questions to Sutta Goswami or Sukadeva Goswami, wise. These four kinds of people are worshipping Lord, approaching the Lord, Chaturveda Bhajante Mam. They are karma Mr. Bhakti. Or they could be Gnana Mishra Bhakti out of wise. Bahunam Janmanamante. Yeah, that is another example of Mahatma. Who is Mahatma? Bahunam Janmanamante Gnanavan Mam Prapaddate Vasudeva Sarvamit Samahatma Sudurlavaha. That's why it's very rare to find somebody who is fully one point attention, fully focused on Lord Vasudeva. You understand that someone bonum of life is give everything, give offer mind, body, senses, speech, just use it in service of the Lord. Your car, your home, everything. That doesn't mean Lord doesn't need anything. Lord is not saying to Arjuna, you give up your family. No, Arjuna has, all the Pandavas had minimum 2 wives. I think Arjuna had even more. They all had kids. Just like look at Lord Krishna's. Lord Krishna, how many? 16 or 108. Obviously, we can't imitate. But he has kids also. So Pandavas had kids also. So he had wife. Lord Krishna didn't say that you renounce, you give up your family life. So Lord never said that. Rather, he encouraged you must perform your duty. Don't neglect your duty, but also think of me. Offer your results to me. Do everything. Just offer everything to me. Think of me and do it. So that's what this Krishna consciousness means. When Prabhupada is saying, being in Grahastha ashram become Paramahamsa, means this is what it means. You're always trying to chant, trying to use very carefully, even though we are working, we are getting money, it is our money, we think our money, I can spend whatever I like, I can buy whatever I like, I can, we don't differentiate with what is need, what is want. No. Minute you become a devotee, if you want to try to become a devotee, then we have to look at what is a need, what is a want. We have to reduce wants. We have to go by what is needed because we don't want to waste. We don't want to waste, even though it is our own money. We can't waste. because everything is Krishna's property. That's why Sri Prabhupada in the kitchens, he wanted everything is Krishna. How can you put, if you are cutting something fallen down, how can your feet touch that? We have this mentality of sometimes we push with the leg, some boxes, push, touch with the legs, move things with the legs. Actually, Prabhupada never liked that. Anything, for that matter, he never liked Mridanga on the ground. We are sitting, Bhagavad Gita is also sitting on the mat. Chanting bag is also on the mat. Prabhupada never liked that. Because that is not the position of where Tulsi Maharani should go. It should be in a higher position, in a clean place. The books cannot go on your same level as you. It should be higher place. This is a Vedic culture. This is the Vedic culture. We have to understand the importance of, because Bhagavad Gita is not different from Krishna. So that means Krishna and you are on the same position. You can put on the same level. No, you can't put it. So that's why you put it at the altar or you put in a box or a cardboard, whatever is there. At least something. You shouldn't treat at the same level as you. So that's why these things must be simple things, but these details are important. That's why Prabhupada, when you're cutting in your kitchen, you should make sure that nothing should fall where your feet shouldn't touch. Even though it's a peel, you are peeling out. That's the trash. Trash should go in the trash bag. It cannot fall down and your feet cannot touch it. If it touches, immediately you should throw it into the trash and you should wash your hands, come back and start. That's also Prabhupada trained, because everything is Krishna's property. Everything belongs to Krishna. So that's why everything should be clean. Nothing should be touching with feet. So this is the quality of Mahatma. Fully focused, paying attention to the details. It's gradually you get there. We don't need to become too much fanatical about it. But I'm just giving you the simple details so that when we come to that level, you gradually you understand. You can apply these principles slowly and gradually. You don't try to apply in your home, because that may bring a chaos, too much cleanliness, because maybe the husband and wife or kids may not be into that level. So then they may think, "Oh, what is he doing here?" So that's why you have to balance according to time, place, circumstance. But at least in temple setting, this is what is to be maintained. At home, maybe you can do, it's fine, whatever way you can do. But slowly we can get there, gradually. Don't try to create a chaos at home. That's not required. Anyway, Krishna is speaking further now, after explaining about this Mahatma's quality and explaining about the pure devotees, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Then Krishna is speaking about in the 15th verse. There are those who are not Karma Mishra Bhakti, there are those who are not neither Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and they are Yoga Mishra Bhakti. In the 8th chapter, Krishna is speaking. But there are some living entities who are performing different worship. So that's why this section is called worshippers and non-worshippers. Non-worshippers have already been discussed in the first verse, 11th and 12th. Is Avajananti Mahamuda. They think Lord Krishna is ordinary human being, atheistic, any of this demoniac atheistic views. So that is a non-worshipper. But in the worshippers, there are few devotees, which we just discussed. Now he is speaking other kind of worshippers. Who are those? In the 15th verse, Krishna is speaking, Jnana Yajnena Chapi Anye. यजन्तो माम उपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतोमुखम. So Krishna is giving three. Gnana yajnena chapi anye means out of various worshippers, we already covered Karma Mishra, Gnana Mishra, Yoga Mishra, but there are others. Who are those? Gnana yajnena chapi anye. Yajantoma, they worship. How they worship? Ekatvena. Ekatvena means ahangropasana. I am God, you are God. And so he is telling that I am also God, you are also God. And so this is one type of worshippers. They are also worshipping, but this is their mentality, this is their consciousness. That's why Ekatvena. Ekatvena means oneness. They are not seeing the difference. In our Brahma Mahatma Gaudism, we are clearly distinguishing. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, simultaneously one and different. Jiva can never become God at any time. Even in his perfected stage, pure consciousness, he cannot become God. Otherwise, what is the question of hearing Bhagavad Gita from Krishna? There is no question of Lord speaking. If you are God, the Lord is God, then what is the difference? There is no difference. Can you create the universe? Can you float it? No, you can't do that. Then how can you say that God? Then why do you have a toothache? Then why? How can you claim that you are a God? God doesn't have toothache. God doesn't have bodily pains. God doesn't have threefold miseries. So that's why we have to question if somebody is claiming God or somebody is claiming putting demigods as God. They are demigods. They are representatives of God. They are not God. So that's why the clear definition of Godhead is being given. So supreme personality of Godhead, that clear definition details is given in the Vedic scriptures. Anyway, here ekatvena, that is oneness, ahangropasana, another Sanskrit term is being used. That is the oneness with God. That's what some people worship because there are many living entities. So they could be. So then you have ekatvena pratatvena. Pratatvena means this is pantheism. I can worship anybody, any god, same result. Demigod, I will worship Indra, I will worship Ganesha, I will worship Surya, I will worship Shakti, I will worship, so many. And result will be the same. So this is the one type of worshippers. They are called Prutatvena. One is worshipping, I am God, you are God, everybody is God. That is Ekatvena. Prutatvena is multi. Any worship, any God I worship, then it is the same result. I don't need to look at who is supreme or who is really God, who is not God. So they don't understand. They'll just simply go with that. Prutatvena. Then Ekatvena, Prutatvena, Bahuda, Viswatomukha. Pratatvena Bahuda, this all, so many they worship. And then Viswatomukam. Third category is universal. They see everything as a universal form. That's why in the second canto beginning, Parikshit Maharaj asking Sukadeva Goswami giving, because one is fully gross, too much gross, attached to the gross body. He can't perceive anything of God except this material form. That's why Krishna is also sometimes speak for both devotees aspect and non-devotees aspect also. For devotees also, he is telling in the next 16 to 19 and in the seventh chapter also. Throughout middle sixth chapter, you see that I am the taste of water, I am the light, I am this, I am that, I am the sun. Doesn't mean that sun is God. Yes, sun is sun God is a delegate of the Supreme Lord. He is demigod. He is not God. When Krishna says, I am the moon, I am the water, that doesn't mean that water has become God. No. When you're tasting water, everything is coming from Him. Who's giving the taste? When you're tasting the water, Krishna is the taste of water. Who's giving the actual light for the sun? Sun, where is he getting the power? Not by his own. It is actually toenails of the Supreme Lord. So, in this way, all the demigod doesn't have their own individual power unless Lord is giving that power. So that's why Krishna is mentioning in all these various categories, I am this, I am that. Throughout 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, you'll see further. Throughout middle 6 chapters, Krishna is describing various opulences. So that whenever you see sun god, you offer obeisances. Surya Narayan. As a representative, you offer. Because you can't, directly you can't, when you are seeing any representative, you are offering obeisance in that way, that you are Surya Narayan, I offer my obeisances out of respect, because without you, we can't sustain ourselves. In that way, we offer, we represent, we we respect all the demigods because they are giving so many things for us. So we are indebted to them. Mm. We have to respect in that way. We don't deny, we don't reject, we don't offend them. That's not the mood or characteristic quality of a devotee. So that's why here in this verse, Krishna is speaking. There are pure devotees, but there are others. They are not even Sakama Bhakta, Nishkama Bhakta, but there are those who are in the category of impersonalist, you can say maybe. Ekatvena, Pratatvena, Bahuda, Visvutoma. There are three: Ahangra Pratik Upasana, and then Viswarup Upasana. Yeah, these are the three terms Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, and other Acharya is giving. So, yeah, Ahangra Upasana means Ekatvena in this verse being used. And Pratatvena means Pratik Upasana. That means multiple God they worship. They think everything result will be same. Or Bahuda Viswatomukam, Viswarup Upasana. That is the universal form. So they see the eyes of the Lord in the universal form of sun and moon. So like that they see or the bones of the Lord is the mountains, or the water or the sweat of the Lord is the oceans and rivers. That when I see ocean, I get an example. Mahatmas, another quality is when ocean doesn't become agitated. Yes, on the top it may be there are waves, but inside the ocean it is stand. It doesn't go beyond its periphery. So it always stands peaceful. Same way Mahatma is also, even though so many big things may happen, volcano may happen, this may happen, that may happen, but he's not agitated. For the time being, there may be little angry to especially to chastise or to correct person, but otherwise they are very peaceful. So in this way, Krishna is describing one by one, gradually, who is worshippers, who is not worshippers. And worshippers also various kind, so that we understand what level we are in, what exactly we are doing, in which level we are operating, so that clearly it gives detail. And then the last four verses, 16 to 19, Krishna is describing is this various descriptions of those, because now you mentioned ekatvena, pratatvena, bahuda, visvatomukam. Especially the visvatomukam, all over the universe. So they are seeing in that way, universal form. So, so that's why to cover that 16 to 19, Krishna is speaking the four verses to describe especially this aspect, to give details. Basically, Krishna shows how he is situated in the whole universe, how one can worship you in as a Viswarup in many ways. So that's why Lord Krishna is speaking in these four verses that it is I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice. So I am the different sacrifice Krishna is mentioned. I'm the healing herb, transcendental chant, fire, and offering. That was the 16th verse. And then Krishna is speaking about beautiful verse of this Mata Data Pitamaha. That's why Krishna is everything. So that's why, yes, we should serve our parents, we should serve our guardians, we should serve our teachers, we should respect all of them. But you can't really depend on anybody other than the Supreme Lord when things go out of control. No one can help. No one can help. Only Supreme Lord can help. And we are really in danger. Who can help? Only Supreme Lord can help. So that's why That's why Krishna is speaking that verse also in terms of our devotees. Always take shelter of the Supreme Lord. पिताहमस्य जगतो माता दाता पितामह jagat pavitra omkar rut sama yajur evacha. Then further Krishna is speaking in the next verse also. Uh, that verse, beautiful verses, those two. Basically, he's explaining this how the universal form means wherever you see that as the fire or the ritual that is mentioning. And then the 17th verse, Krishna is telling, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the support, I am the grandsire, I am the object of the knowledge, I am the purifier, I am the sellable home, I am all these four Vedas. That Eva Cha means Atharva Veda is not mentioned. That means it is also and Atharva Veda, four Vedas. And then the 18th verse, Krishna is mentioning Gatir Bhakta Prabhu Sakshi Nivas Saranam Surut Prabhav Pralaya Sthanam Nidanam Bijam Abhyam. I am the goal, I am the sustainer, because ultimately he is the goal. Our goal of life is how to revive our lost relationship, developing that loving relationship and attaining him. So that doesn't mean we become lost. No. Our actual original Swarupa will be revealed. Our rasa will be revealed when we go to spiritual world. Actual real activities will start right there in spiritual world. So it is all training. Reformation is going on right now. So we just started the reformation, process of reformation. Green mango is slowly getting ripened. Nice and very pinkish, goldish mango, juicy mango. That's what will become. So when we come to the pure state of consciousness, so that's what will become. So then Krishna will enjoy it, and we will also get relish. We will also get that. She will not eat everything. She will also give us. So that is the beauty of this process. When we offer Krishna prasad, bhoga, then it becomes prasad. He is giving back to us. So when we dance in the time, we are also getting pleasure. So when we chant, we also get pleasure. Initially, maybe not mechanically, we don't get any pleasure. We are not really relishing it because we are not at that level purity. So that's why. But you can see Sri Prabhupada, when he's chanting, he's crying and chanting. When you see the gopis, when you see Yasodama, is always 24 by 7. She's always, while churning the butter, she's always singing the songs of Krishna's pastimes. How Krishna killed Putana, how Sakada, Suratana, Varta, all these pastimes has happened. So Yasodama is thinking all of them. She's singing those as songs. 24 by 7. So she is getting great pleasure. She is always thinking. about Krishna. So this is what the actual pure devotees do, and they also get a lot of pleasure. Otherwise, why will they do? There is no pleasure. Why will they do it? So, but we are not at that level, so that's why we are not seeing the pleasure. But initially mechanical, but we practice it, then gradually we will come there. And that's why we worship the deity. That's why we have to offer flowers. That's why we have to offer a fruit. Something or the other. Slowly we develop. We connect. We can offer in your own language, in your own terms. You pray. You connect. You talk to the Lord. When you go to the altar, don't just sit and stare, but actually you talk to Him. You can talk to Him in your own words. You submit whatever problems you may have, whatever you may have. Lord will listen. Lord will listen. Lord will reciprocate either directly or indirectly through other devotees, through classes, through prasadam, through so many different means. You can't understand now. But as you go through this process of devotion service after a few months, a few years, then you understand how Lord is protecting in every possible way. You can't even imagine. Every possible way is protecting. He is taking care of our kids and family, job, everything. But we will not realize immediately. We will realize much later as we practice more and more, become mature. Then you will realize actually how everything is happening by His mercy only. You will see the mercy. So regularly you will see. Pratyaksha avagamam dharma. Realization will come. But we may not be at that level in the beginning, but we will get there slowly. So that's why Krishna is speaking all this. I'm giving the heat, I'm withholding, I'm sending the rains, I'm in immortality. So in this way, Krishna is speaking all these 4 verses. This is a big section. So already 8:30. So what to do? I haven't covered. Let me quickly read that Krishna book where this is mentioned, beautiful pastime, so that to understand the Salva's pastime of. Um, Let me read that. Let me share. Vedabase.io is where all the books are there. You all can read at any time. 77th chapter, deliverance of Salva. There you can see. Yeah. Salva thought he had become victorious, and with a roaring sound, he addressed Lord Krishna, "You rascal, Krishna." But before that, I think we have to bring the context. The chariot of Lord Krishna was marked with the flag bearing insignia of Garuda, and as soon as the soldiers and warriors of Edu dynasty saw the flag, they could understand that Lord Krishna was on the battlefield. By this time, almost all the soldiers of Salva had been killed. But when Salva saw that Krishna had come to the battlefield, he released a great, powerful weapon, which flew through the sky with a roaring sound like a great meteor. It was so bright that the whole sky was lit up by the presence. But as soon as Lord Krishna appeared, he tore the great weapon into hundreds and thousands of pieces by releasing his own arrows. Lord Krishna struck Salva with 16 arrows, with showers of arrows. He overpowered the aeroplane just as the sun in a clear sky overpowers the whole sky by an unlimited number of molecules of sunshine. Salva struck a severe blow to Krishna's left side, where the Lord carried his bow Saranga, and as a result of the Saranga bow fell from Lord Krishna's hand. This dropping of the bow was indeed wonderful. Great personalities and demigods who were observing and fighting between Salva and Krishna were most perturbed by this, and they exclaimed, "Alas, alas!" Because Lord Krishna also wants to play, increase the rasa of this fighting. If it is one time, one shot is done, then where is the actually, relishing? So that's why it happened also in Varahadev pastime with Hiranyaksha. Lord didn't actually, his mace also fell down. And in Narsinghdev's pastime also, Narsingdev and Hiranyakashipu also, it didn't happen exactly in the dusk time. It started much before. There are multiple different millenniums it happened. At least in one instance, it is mentioned almost 2-3 hours or few hours they fought, like cat and mouse kind of playing. And then finally, when the time came, then that's when Lord Narsingdev killed Hiranyakashipu. But here also Lord wants to play. Here we can see further. Salva thought that he had become victorious, and with a roaring sound, he addressed Lord Krishna as follows: "You rascal Krishna, you kidnapped Rukmini forcibly even in our presence. You baffled my friend Sisupal and married Rukmini yourself. And in the great assembly at King Yudhishthira Rajasu's Yajna, while my friend Sisupala was a little absent minded, you took an opportunity to kill him. Everyone thinks that you are a great fighter and that no one can conquer you. So now you will have to prove your strength. I think that if you stand before me any longer with my sharp arrows, I shall send you to a place where from you will never return. See what audacity he has to speak to Krishna in this way. This is what there are people. This is directly seeing Krishna and is doing this. You can imagine. This is in Dwaraka pastime, not even in Kali Yuga. Now we can understand that in Kali Yuga, how many people are there who are in this category of Salva. It is not astonishing. To this, Lord Krishna replied, foolish Salva, same way as in the verse, basically he's telling the verse. Avajananti Mahamuda Manusim Tanumasam is telling Salva. You are talking nonsensically. You do not know that the moment of death is already upon your head. Actual heroes do not talk much. They prove their prowess by practical exhibition of chivalrous activities. After saying this, Lord Krishna in great anger struck Salva on the collarbone with his club so severely that Salva began to vomit blood and tremble as if he were going to collapse from severe cold. Before Krishna was able to strike him again, however, Salva became invisible by his mystic power. These days, some of these personalities have great powers and strength. See what's going to happen next. Within few moments, a mysterious unknown man came before Lord Krishna. This can be create a great drama or a movie. This pastime. Crying loudly, he bowed down at the Lord's lotus feet and said to him, "Since you are the most beloved son of your father Vasudeva, your mother Devaki has sent me to inform you of the unfortunate news that Salva has arrested your father and taken him away by force." Pay attention here. This pastime. Just as a butcher mercilessly takes away an animal, when Lord Krishna heard this unfortunate news from the unknown man, he at first became most perturbed, just like an ordinary human being. See that word. His face showed signs of grief. He began to cry in a piteous tone. How could that happen? My brother Lord Balarama is there, and it is impossible for anyone to conquer Balramji. He is in charge of Dwaraka city. I know he is always alert. How could Salva possibly enter the city and arrest my father in that way? Whatever Salva may be, his power is limited. So how could it be possible that he has conquered the strength of Balramji and taken away my father? Arresting him as described by this man, alas, destiny is after all very powerful. This is Lord Krishna. You can imagine how he is playing here. While Sri Krishna was thinking like this, Salva brought before him in custody a man exactly resembling Vasudeva, his father. There were all creations of mystic powers of Salva. These were all creations of mystic power of Salva. Salva addressed Krishna, "You rascal, Krishna, look, this is your father who has begotten you, and by your whose mercy you are still living. Now just see how I kill your father. If you have any strength, try to save him." The mystic juggler Salva, speaking in this way before Lord Krishna, immediately cut off the head of false Vasudeva. Then, without hesitation, he took away the dead body and got into the aeroplane. Lord Krishna is the self sufficient Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, because he was playing the role of human being, he became very depressed for a moment, as if he had actually lost his father. But at the next moment, he could understand that the arrest and killing of his father were demonstrations of mystic powers which Salva had learned from the demon Maya. Coming to his right consciousness, he could see that there was no messenger and no head of his father, but that Salva had left in his aeroplane, which was flying in the sky. He then began to think of slaying the Salva. Krishna's reaction is a controversial point. Make this see this clearly. Pay attention. Krishna's reaction is a controversial point among great authorities and saintly persons. How could Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all power and knowledge, be bewildered in such a way? Lamentation, agreement, and bewilderment are characteristics of conditioned souls. But how can such things affect the person of Supreme, who is full of knowledge, power, and all opulence? Actually, it is not at all possible that Lord Krishna was misled by the mystic jugglery of Salva. He was displaying his pastime in playing the role of human being. Great saintly persons and sages who are engaged in devotion service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and who have thus achieved the greatest perfection of self realization have transcended the bewilderments of the bodily concept of life. Lord Krishna is the ultimate goal of life for such saintly person. How then could Krishna have been bewildered by mystic jugglery of Salva? The conclusion is that Lord Krishna's bewilderment was another opulence of his supreme personality. That is essence. He's playing. He's playing because these pastimes are wonderful. So that's why he's acting on that. When Salva thought that Krishna had been bewildered by the mystic representation, he became encouraged and began to attack the Lord with greater strength and engage energy by showering volleys of arrows upon him. But the enthusiasm of Salva can be compared to the speedy march of moths into fire. Lord Krishna, by hurling his arrows with unfathomable strength, injured Salva, whose armor, bow, and jeweled helmet all scattered into pieces. With a crashing blow from Krishna's club, Salva's wonderful aeroplane burst into pieces and fell into the sea. This wonderful aeroplane is called Sauba, Saubha, Sauba. Salva was very careful and instead of crashing with an aeroplane, he managed to jump onto the land. He again rushed toward Lord Krishna. When Salva ran swiftly to attack Krishna with his club, Lord Krishna cut off his hand, which fell to the ground with the club. Finally, deciding to kill him, Lord took up his wonderful disc, this Sudarshana disc. It is also called Kala Chakra, death personified, Kala Chakra, the Sudarshana disc, which shone like a brilliant sun at the time of dissolution of the material creation. When Lord Sri Krishna stood up with his disc to kill Salva, he appeared just like the mountain with the red sun rising over it. Lord Krishna then cut off Salva's head, and the head with its earrings, helmet, fell to the ground. Salva was thus killed in the same way that Vritsarasura was killed by Indra, the king of heaven. So now we can understand this position. So understand this pastime, how Lord plays this part of human being, just for the attraction to attract, to because there should be some some all genres, all rasas has to be there. Just otherwise you could have released Sudarshan Chakra. It's one shot done, no fighting, no argument, no question. So it's not releasable. So that's why Lord also performs like this. So pastimes, whether it's Hiranyakashipu Narsingadev or Varaha Hiranyaksha, or in this Salva's Leela. So some of this fighting, Lord Krishna also does that. Even Lord Balram did that. In Dvivida, fighting with Dvivida also means they're different. And Dvivida was also a associate of Lord Ramachandra in that part. Not associate because he was there. In one sense, he's a devotee of Lord Ramachandra, but at the same time, he didn't understand the position of Balramji, Lord Lakshman. So from that point itself, he had some feelings. So that continued on in Krishna Leela also. So then that's why Lord Balaram also didn't take it very offensively. He didn't take it very seriously. But same time, he also wanted to play. So it went on for quite some time. Lord Balaram is like losing in some place, then he's fighting, then finally he kills. So that's why sometimes Lord also plays in different roles, in different incarnations, because that's where the rasa is. Lord is raso vaisaha. So anyway, this is unending discussion of this is Krishna's pastimes. So anyway, any quick questions? Already 8:44, very late. But if anyone had any doubts, anything confusing, please quickly ask so that we can try to clarify and then conclude it. You are unmuted. You can ask if you have any questions. Okay, no questions. So we conclude.